First, disconnect the battery, disconnect the negative terminal, use a 10mm wrench, loosen up the terminal, slide this off and out of the way. I'm going to remove this snorkel, use a 10mm socket, loosen up this clamp right here, and also down here. And there's a clamp right here on the intake, on the valve cover. Slide that off. If you had a cover over here, you may have to remove some bolts or nuts to take that cover off. Slide this off and slide it off the airbox and off the throttle body. And you can just slide this out of the way. You don't have to take it off the car completely. All right, disconnect the connector right here. Just push down on the tab and slide it back. And then there's 2 bolts and 2 nuts to take off. Use a 10mm socket. Take those out. After you take the bolts out, and just grab the throttle body and move it to the side. Now I'm going to remove this hose right here. Just use some pliers, needle nose pliers or hose pliers, and slide the clamp up. And just grab the hose, slide it out. There's another hose right here. Do the same. Slide it up and out of the way. Now I'm going to use a 12mm socket. Take these bolts out. Start with this one. And I'll take these out as well. And this one's a nut. Now I'm just going to take the dipstick out and grab the intake. Just slide it out. This wiring harness is in the way a little bit. Just move those brackets and just slide it back. Now there is a hose still attached right here, but it's kind of hard to access that hose. And just try to take your pliers and disconnect that hose. Slide that off. And slide it up. Because this intake works for other applications, there is an adapter. For our vehicle, we're going to use the adapter to match it up like the old one. It comes with bolts. I'll put these on. Now I'm going to torque these to 100 inch-pounds. Make sure you're on inch-pounds, not foot-pounds. Now take these studs out. You can use an E8 socket. Loosen these up and transfer them over. And just snug those up. Just Just gonna clean up this area. Just use a little brake parts cleaner and a rag. That looks all clean. Now take the intake and slide it in position. Make sure nothing fell into those intake ports on the head. Just slide it down. Hook this hose up. Slide the clamp on if it didn't come off. I'll slide these brackets down, go over the studs, and put the nuts and bolts in position. And put the bolt right here. Now this one does not need that bracket. This is all one piece, so you don't need that. And the bolt down below. Now with those bolts snug down, I'm going to torque them in a certain sequence. We start with this middle one. This is number 1 to 22 foot-pounds. This is number 2. This is number 3. This is number 4. Number 5. And number 6 down below. Reconnect these hoses. Start with the smaller one. And move the clamp down. And now the other one. We can put the dipstick back in. Put a new gasket on here. Just line up the tab. And take the throttle body. And line it up, just like that. And put the nuts on. Put the bolts back in. And torque these nuts and bolts to 80 inch-pounds. Make sure you're on inch-pounds, not foot-pounds. And reconnect the connector. Lock it down. And take the snorkel, slide it in position. And put this hose back on the valve cover. Slide the clamp over. Tighten down these worm clamps. Make sure that's tight. If you have that cover, you want to put that cover back on, put the nuts back on in position. Put the negative terminal on. And tighten it down. And make sure it's not loose.